Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge in the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2022. This is the Player Championship, and it is my Milli-Maker best plays. Going to go over all the analysis from the guys at the most expensive down to 7,000. Give you my top 15 guys. I'm also going to go over one and done. We're going to talk weather, all kinds of good stuff. So give me about 30 to 45 minutes, and I'm going to get you that edge you need to hopefully bring home the big cash. And first and foremost, thanks for stopping by. All right, let's go talk some golf. Okay, I just want to remind today is the last day to get in my giveaway for the players. And what is this? I am randomly going to pick 5 winners, and I'm going to give you guys $100 to get you hopefully 4 entries into that Milli-Maker or whatever else that you want to use it for. And all you need to do is click that like button, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, because I need you to tell me down in those YouTube comments, who do you think is going to win the players? Once you do that, you will be put into a random generator. It will pull 5 winners, and then I'm going to notify you guys through YouTube. And all I need is your email address, and I will PayPal over the cash. And that's it. Okay, so real quick, let's recap what you might have missed on the preview show, or just to remind you guys, what am I looking at from a stroke gain analysis ranking? How do you win the players? What shows up time and time again, of course, is approach, specifically from that 125 to 150. I like the guys that are really good with the irons, pitching wedge. You also got to be really good at hitting the fairways. A little side note, I did find out that the rough is not going to be at 2.5 inches. They're talking about 4.5 inches. We've also got a lot of weather coming, so we're going to dive a little bit into that in a bit. So it's going to be very interesting, but again, I need guys to hit the fairways to be then able to take advantage of hitting good iron shots. I'm going to put ball striking on there at third just because I want to combine all of that together and also re-emphasize it. Around the green shows up here. You've got a lot of runoff areas. You're not going to hit every green, and the guys that are usually good around the green typically also score very well. Putting does show, of course, you can win at this course, as you probably have heard 100 times. Multiple different ways. But putting is a very hard statistic to find out who's going to be putting well, but we can at least look historically who's done well and who's doing well in recent form. So we'll take a look at that. Sand saves, we got about 88 sand bunkers here, so you got to be good out of the sand. You can't be Jason Kokrak, which actually, funny enough, watched a little bit of him at the API, and he actually hit some decent sand shots. So maybe he's come around on that. I mentioned that proxy to the pin, 125 to 150 is key. About 20% of the shots coming in after your tee shot is at that range. The next one that shows up heavily is 100 to 125 at 13%. And then, of course, I also put in the larger models, 75 to 100. You got a gain. You got 4 par 5s here, all very gettable. So that is something that we're looking at. I think the par 3s are a big part of the course defense here. Of course, you got number 17, the island green. That plays, about 130 yards. It's not that long. It's just very intimidating, especially with the winds that we got coming. It's going to be a very interesting tournament to watch. But then you got the other 3 that pop around 175 up to like 220. And again, that seems like that is the tough area. Guys that can manage those, get their pars and move on to, hopefully on some of the shorter par 4s, the drivable par 4, or again, making hay on the par 5s. And then last, I, again, still have eagles on there. I'm not worried about the eagles so much, but I do worry about the guys that can make birdies or have been making birdies. And also, I always look at the comparable courses. I think this is a key thing, again, to kind of push you over the edge. I don't think it's everything by any stretch. None of this information is everything. You kind of take it all in. I weigh it in my own personal perspective. I'm sure you have your own. But if you're curious about the comparable courses, of course, we're going to look at course history at TPC Sawgrass. My next one would be RBC Heritage. It just shows up time to time. You have to be a strategic thinker. It's a P-die course. A lot of the visual challenges that you have to overcome and know areas where you can miss, know that you have more area than maybe you thought. There's a lot of that going on here. I think TPC Southland, where they played WGCX St. Jude, there's a lot of crossover from there. Those all on the left too, RSM, they're all Tiff Eagle greens, overseeded. So it also shows the guys that can read Bermuda greens, understand if you're against the green or with the green, what it can do. So I'm looking at the Seaside course. And then over at the Honda, right, we got tons of water. You got the Bermuda Tiff Eagle, somewhat similar. It's a par 70, but also you can see some crossover. And also, I had to put enough tournaments in here that these guys play, right? So a lot of the big names that we're going to be seeing don't play RBC, very rare. I mean, you've had DJ play there, you've had Lowry. But yeah, some of the bigger guys don't typically play that. the WGC FedEx St. Jude, now you get a really good field in the top 30 in the world typically play there, not RSM. The Honda is a mixed bag, probably more towards the weaker side, but then Valspar, again, it brings in some of the better players. And the 3M, I'd say, is a little bit on the lower side, but again, has a ton of water, and that is Ben Green. So, with that said, that's the comparable courses that I'd be leveraging and looking at how guys have done in the past there. And if you want to know who ranks out best using my large model, you've got a list right here with Berger, Answer, Simpson, Burns, and you can kind of see the rest of the guys. HV3 is interesting to me, just because his best finish on the PGA Tour was a second at the RBC Heritage. He had a crazy Sunday, was draining everything, a bit like what he did in his win over on the Asian Tour here not too long ago. Just not like Harold Varner, who just went out and just drained everything. I think he eagled on the last hole, eagle or birdie for like a crazy distance to eliminate the playoff and to win the tournament outright. All right, that's enough on comparable courses. Let's talk weather real quick, and then we're going to go jump over into Fantasy National and do some analysis on these guys. Okay, let's real quickly talk about weather. I typically do not talk about weather till the day before, but because I am doing my picks, it's going to have a little bit of effect. It is not going to dominate because what I've seen when we've got this kind of weather predicted is that you're going to have a lot of postponements. We're going to have maybe a Monday finish, and they're not going to play in this stuff. Of course, if there's lightning in the area, they're not going to play. It's actually going to be kind of crappy because I think everybody's really psyched to watch the players. And I just have a really bad feeling that we have been very lucky so far, fall and the start of the 2022 season, that we haven't had these kind of issues. Now, who knows? It's Florida. Things could change. Maybe all this will blow above, below. Maybe it won't even happen. It is off the ocean, and things can change very rapidly, quickly. But right now, we have to plan for it, and it just so happens it's going to hit Thursday, Friday. You're going to have rain on Saturday, and the problem is the lightning. That's like I said, that's what's going to postpone. I have a feeling we're going to be watching a lot of 2020, like last year's players, or even older, and not to get to see a lot of the golf we're hoping for. But neither here or there. As you see, 80% likely right now of thunderstorms. You've got 70% on Friday. Then the winds really kick up. So the winds you can see here, 8 to 16. I mean, it's still a bit. That's a little bit what we saw at the API. But really it's kicking in on Saturday. Then you got temperatures dropping for Florida to 36 to 54. So yeah, we've definitely got weather to think about. So all I was getting to is that I will probably build one or two all weather teams. I didn't put that together. I mean, I could definitely do that for you guys. You know what? I'll put it out tomorrow, who I like from a weather perspective, because some of you guys maybe don't know. I'm sure most of you guys do. But with that said, yeah, I'll have a couple of those teams. And also some of the picks that I'm making is, this is affecting a little bit of that. But I'm not going all in on that because I've done that before, and it's just bit me in the butt where either it was too much wind and they just stopped play, and so that really affected, especially from a showdown perspective. So yeah, all right. Well, let's go jump over to Fantasy National and let's go do some analysis. Okay, I've jumped over into Fantasy National, and again, my plug for those guys: if you've not checked this out and you are trying to do your own analysis, give it a look. FantasyNational.com. It's amazing. It's got everything you can need. I mean, there's a ton of stuff on PGAtour.com. I know that. But to be able to get down and do comparable courses and just, it's all summarized there for you. And it's an amazing tool. It takes a little bit to learn, I will say that. But once you start to figure it out, you're good to go. All right. With that said, let's look at these guys. So just so you know how we're looking at this, I'm looking over the last 24 rounds. You guys are probably used to me looking at the last 12, but now we've got enough information and enough tournaments that these guys have played in that's still recent. And also, of course, we just had a couple Florida swing tournaments. So I'm good with taking 24 rounds. That's still a great sample. Now, you're looking at the past 6 tournaments. So some of it might get a little dated back like late fall or after the tour, after the FedEx Cup stopped. But I'm good with what I'm seeing, and so that is where I'm going to grab instead of just taking the last 3 tournaments. I've made a mini model, taking out the 5 key stroke gain categories, weighting them. So approach number 1, and that's weighted like 35%. Good drives is over 20-some percent. Ball striking is a little less because, like I said, this really combining these two together. That proximity 125 to 150 and around the green are around 15% each weighted. With that said, it gets you 100%, with the top three being the heaviest weighted. I've already went and I had this set at putting first. I wanted to see how these guys have done putting over the last three tournaments. That kind of helped me decipher down. And now what you're going to be visually seeing is birdies, which they kind of correlate. If you're putting well, typically you're making the birdies. And then over here, you got recent results, how they done over the last 5 tournaments. And then, of course, tournament history playing here at TPC Sawgrass. Okay. First guy, of course, you come to is at 11,100, and that would be Mr. Jon Rahm, who, as we all know, and if you've been watching any of the golf or if you've been listening to the media, is around the green and putting has just went south. This has happened before. Let me see. Let's just go look. It was midsummer last year, I'm pretty sure. It was like spring to summer. I want to go find that, though, because I guess it'd be right around here where he missed Wells Fargo. Yeah, so he lost. It's right here. He lost kind of winter going spring. And then it kind of kicked back in. So I've seen this before with Jon Rahm, but this is the most strokes he's ever lost over 3 tournaments in a row, losing 2.3, losing 2.6, losing 3.9. The around the green is also definitely been a problem, but man, he's always been very good around the green, and he's also been a pretty damn good putter. He's been solid, but the ball striking's been ridiculous. So with that said, my theory, and it is a theory, I know he changed putters, tried a new putter. He also just stated in his presser that he is working on a few things. Now, he didn't say what that is. He didn't say I'm working on something putting specifically. He just said I'm working on a few things, and that always kind of makes me a little intrigued or interested. It means that you're not comfortable with something, because how do you change, from what he was doing after winning the U.S. Open and just top fives all the way, and then you could see kind of this fallout over the last few tournaments. So with that said, I'm going to be skipping Jon Rahm. And even though if you look at his past tournament history, it's just got better and better. But this is probably the one tournament that you really can't put a ton of stock in tournament history, because we've just seen it so volatile, where guys have done awesome here, missed a cut, where guys have missed 2 or 3 cuts, and then top 10. So me knowing that, and now you also, and you could take it, believe me or not, that we're not going to put a ton of stock in tournament history. That's my narrative. That's what I'm going with. I'm going to go a little more visually of what I've been seeing, but I also got a mindset of what I think you need to do very well to win the Players. And it's all about just give me the fairway, as I already mentioned. I don't care if it's a 5 wood, 3 wood, an iron. I don't care. Just get in the fairway and be really good at your irons. And then, like I said, I think the putting is, you don't know who's going to have that hot putter. I mean, I think of Johnny Vegas. It had been about 3 years ago. Is good tee to green, but the putter is usually just trash. He went out, had a great putting experience with the Players. On the Big Island green, they always show Tiger Woods. Oh God, I know, 2013, whatever it was, make that crazy putt. Well, actually, Johnny Vegas made a longer putt than that. I believe it was 90 some feet. And that's the one they should show, because that thing, it was the most ridiculous putt. If you go YouTube Johnny Vegas at the Players putt, again, I think it was like 2019. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I just confirmed it was 2019 when Johnny Vegas ended up 3rd here, and it was all because he just decided that finally his putter woke up for 4 rounds. All right, moving on. So I'm out on Rahm, and it's all about I don't trust where the putter's at, and we all know he could easily come out of it and put the lights out, and if he does that, then it's game over. He also plays very well in the wind, because he is so good at ball striking. So, you could also go there. Rory is, since his win at the CJ Cup, it's been a little interesting. Let's look at his history. So, again, I give you that perfect example, right? Miscut, win, miscut. So there shows you again how volatile it can be here. Last year, if I remember correctly, I think I even stated in my past notes that don't play the large GPP. Don't play DFS, because it's so hard to figure out who's going to do well and not. And it was, and what I think a lot of it stemmed to was a lot of the top players missed a cut and just blew up everybody's lineups. And that could happen again. And you're going to kind of see my builds. again, focused on a large GPP Milli-Maker, is a little different probably than a lot of people's, I would guess, but we'll see. But I'm out on Rory. Like I said, no reason. Of course, past winner, pretty good recent form. No issues there. It has nothing to do about the API at all. Is he maybe a little taxed from that? Yeah, I'm sure all the guys are. And I kind of talked about in the preview show. I'm not going to really weigh the API either way. No matter how you did, I don't care about that. But just, I was kind of more on if you played the API and you were in contention, did that kind of break you down a little bit to not, be ready to come into this. You heard Rory said Monday he took just a complete day off, is what he mentioned, just to kind of recharge. So that took a day away from, of course, prepping here at the Players, but neither here or there. So Rory, I'm saying no thank you to. Now again, both these guys, could be very useful. Where I'm leaning, and I've already told you guys from the word go, I've already, the first bet that I made is Colin Morikawa. I've been thinking about Colin Morikawa winning this tournament for quite a while. Now you could see he's played here once at a T41. He even spoke to the press earlier today, and someone asked him, is one of his favorite courses, or does he visualize that this course should be a good course for me? He said, funny enough, I never really looked at this course as being a good fit, but everything that you need to do here actually does fit very well. And of course, it's going to come down to the putter in around the green, not too far off from Rahm. But what he does very well is the irons, and he also hits a ton of fairways. So that's the first things. And then I also know what he does extremely well is that 150 and down, a lot like the guy that I'm putting in second. So my top two guys going in, and I'll probably use to build a lot of my builds. And I'm not going to go nutty with putting in a ton of lineups. I'm not putting in 150, but I'll probably put like 25, something like that is what I'm guessing. And these guys will probably be in quite a few of them. I'll be overweight on the field, I would guess, with these two being my starters. I already showed you his history. You can see, of course, Colin Morikawa, T2 at the Genesis, T5, I mean, all top 10s, actually top 5s. Let's just go click on Morikawa. Of course, he's won 2 majors. The guy is just, ridiculously elite. And it's just, when I think of Justin Thomas, I almost think he's either there's almost like 1A, 1B when it comes to approach shots, again, from 150 and below when they're on. So, of course, I mentioned there's a WGC Mexico, which was also played. That was that concession. It gets so confusing with how that all got screwed around. So, of course, he's got the win also in Florida on Bermuda. Also, has a good comp course for this. I didn't actually plug it in, but I did use it at the Honda. But there was only one event there, but it was a strong field. So, I also like that comparable. You got Memorial, the Workday. So, that's his 4 wins. The recent Genesis 3M, which that's kind of interesting. I forgot that he was there with Matthew Wolff and I think it was Bryson that he beat out with that Eagle. So that's a great comparable course. But like I said, a lot of the top guys don't play there. So I don't think I need the Sony, some win, Wailea. I use that in the Wyndham and the other ones, but I just think it's so hard to kind of compare those courses to this test of golf. I would almost look more at majors and no cut events is a better, at least with the fields and what you're comparing to. So, anyways, I don't think I need to sell you on Colin, but it's your decision. He's my number 1 guy in, and then right behind him is JT. Now you're saying, well, you got 2 10,000s. Well, yeah, you're going to see that I've kind of skipped almost the whole 8,000 range. So I'm kind of like, I don't want to say stars and scrubs because you don't have to go that low to make your builds. But like I said, I like these two guys kind of leading off. Of course, JT, I'm going to pull this up, but right now he's made the cut over the last 5 years. He had a T3, a T11, and, pulled that victory off, which was great for him because if you remember, he had a rough kind of spring with his, grandpa passing, saying a few choice words that got picked up by PGA Live mics. Lost, of course, Polo, Ralph Lauren as a sponsor. So this was kind of the tournament that kind of, steered his career around. I also like that he put that, low fade, kind of the bullet fade. He's also got that low hook that he used on 18 last year. So if it does get windy, I know you also need to shape the shots, be able to, work your ball both ways. The driving, like I said, would have made me a little nervous if you'd asked me a few months ago, but like I said, I think he's worked where he's got kind of his go-to, if you want to call fairway finder, and doesn't have to just swing out of his rear. And of course, if we go look, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see it because I'll be shocked. He's had a So that's interesting. He's never missed a cut at the Players. I would have not have guessed that. So there's one where you could say course history, and let me go by. Yeah, kind of up and down a little bit, but never actually missed a cut. So there's one elite player that has not missed a cut. So do with that with you may. Of course, when you put him in a no cut event, that's not what this is, but it's an elite field. Look at all, he's had a ton of wins there. The workday, no, that's not concession. How did he do it? I don't remember. I think he was in that field. Sorry, I'm looking now that we're WGC Mexico. So that should be the one there. Yeah. So he had a 15th at concession. Also, Victor Hovland did well there. He was also on my radar, but I opted to go with JT. So that would be the next guy to talk about real quick, Victor Hovland. I think he's a great play. I will try to probably figure out a bill to put these three and, to go up pure stars and scrubs. That might be another route that I look at. Played her once, missed the cut. It's been playing amazing golf, right? Won his last 3 out of 7 tournaments globally now, I think it is. Should have won the Arnold Palmer. Just his putter just kind of fell apart at the very end there for him. But he's got also the various, ranked number 2 from that 125 to 150. We know how hot he can get around the green, but I think it won't show up as much as it did because just how hard the greens were. Of course, we're gonna have rain, so also a little bit why I want the guys that are just deadly with the irons is because there's nothing they can do. I'm sure they might have sub air. I haven't even looked into that. As in sub air is in the greens, you turn it on. It's like fans that like a vacuum system that sucks all the moisture out. Right, Augusta has it. As far as I know, these guys do not, but I'm going to look into that. But they might have no way of drying these greens out, and the wind should do it. But if you're getting a ton of rain, and then they're going to try to get this players in one way or the other. So it's not like they're going to be holding the guys and say, go to bed. We're going to dry the course out. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. So anyways, I think that's why around the green and putting is not going to be as huge because if you're in this distance and these guys within, they're going to be putting inside 10 feet quite often if you're really good from 125 to 150. Patrick Cantlay, I think is interesting. I mean, I think he's a perfect fit. He typically, I know this isn't shown it. He had that T33 at the Genesis, but tee to green, he's elite. Also, great around the green, typically a good putter. I think the putting has went a little sideways. If I remember right here. Nope, hasn't been the putting. Oh, the irons. So that's what kind of got me off Cantlay, if you're just curious. If you look, he's lost strokes against the field. If you look at the last 3 tournaments, 2 out of the 3 losing, we'll just say about 2.5 strokes to the field. That's rare for him. I'm not expecting that to stay. The putter has actually been fine. It was the irons that weren't very, if you want to say Patrick Cantlay, and that can happen. Even Morikawa, I think it was in the fall. I don't know if it was right around the FedEx. Let me go look. He had a struggle with the irons, which was a little unique. Yeah, so that would have been right during the Tour Championship. Typically, this is what you expect to see, gaining somewhere between 3 to 5 strokes with the irons. Okay. But I think Victor Hovland's a great play. I think Cantlay is a good play. I'm just opting for these 2 guys. DJ, you want to be unique. He's had a pretty good, a great course history here. I've been off on DJ, and I've told you guys this for so long now. Since he won the Masters in 2020, I've given you my narrative on that was kind of his end-all, be-all. And who knows about the Saudi thing? I just don't know where his mind's at. I don't know where his hunger's at. I mean, he's been doing this for so long. He's got everything, literally everything you could want. Majors, FedEx. He's got the girl. He's, you name it, man. Like, so until I see him really, and he's so hard to read, right? I mean, he's the one guy you have no idea that he's shooting 20 under or 20 over. Like when you talk about a guy that doesn't wear his emotions, that's one. And then it just comes off to his, I don't really care. I don't need to win this. So with that said, I'm out on DJ, but again, he's still an elite player. It's kind of amazing. So look at this. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's fallen down to number 7 in the in the cost perspective. So that shows you where his game's been too since then. Funny enough, I haven't heard anybody talk about Xander. And a little bit out of sight, out of mind, right? The last time we saw him at the Genesis, been playing good golf. I mean, again, there's no reason I don't see. I mean, these two missed cuts is what I think, but there's that T2. So easily he could come out and either win or top five this thing. He's got the game. Let me just go look. There was something about what Xander was doing. It's been such a long time that what I was seeing that I wasn't too excited about. That was back in the fall. So the irons a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he had a really good showing at Waste Management. The putter kind of let him down at the end and a little bit around the green. But 9,700, I think he's a good play. He's just not making my, top 15 plays total, as in, well, not making my top Fab Five, to be honest. Hideki, man, it's been slacking a little bit, and you got to remember this T20 could have easily been a T60. I mean, he was like one of the only guys that shot under on Sunday, so he moved up like 30 some spots. But again, what's his record here? So there you go. I mean, here it is. Cut T8, cut T22. So again, course history is so difficult to really weigh a lot, especially with the weather condition we're in. But if you're going on the premise of what I like, he's doing that 125 to 150. The guy just been killing it his last, 6 tournaments, and always is. I mean, the guy's just elite. He's number 9 ranked again against his field with his irons, and typically the driver's pretty good. Like I said, he can get a little wayward here or there. And again, I'm talking about just the top guys. So again, I'm skipping through. The good news is DeChambeau, which I would have never played. I mean, I heard some people say, "Oh, I wanted to bet him," or like, "What are you thinking?" The guy has been, not good since really we saw him back in the late summer. He's got the injuries. We don't know where his mind's at. So I'm just glad he just pulled out. Don't have to worry about him. And it looks like I think DraftKings already had him in there, maybe from a pricing standpoint. So that might have gave us a little bit of break. The other guy that pulled out was Kevin Na. I guess he's having his 3rd child. I'm very happy about that because honestly, Kevin does some things that I like for this course, and he burned me last year. So I probably would not have played him in DFS. Definitely would not have bet him. But he's the one guy that can get super hot with the irons, putting. So I'm landing on a lower 9,000 range again, hence how I can kind of put this build together. So I'm going with Cam Smith. Now, it's the driver that can make you nervous, but I know he can also keep it in play. He can knock it down. He can do the things he needs, but I think he's probably where I would put my all-weather team. He's one of the guys that, of course, he's from Australia. He can definitely handle the wind, and if it gets nasty out there, which is going to, that's why I'm also going to have some builds with those kind of guys. And Scotty also, as you just saw, what he can do, but of course from Texas, one of the best. I think he gains the most strokes. He's up there in crazy winds. Yeah, almost a stroke and a half on the field. And you got to see that play out over the weekend. It was also, he got some breaks, had some really good putts. But you can also see he's making the birdies and, of course, won the last 2 out of 3 tournaments. I don't think I need to sell you on Mr. Scotty Scheffler. And we go look at Cam. You can see his course history. So, well, we'll do them both. So Scotty, only played here once, missed the cut. And again, do whatever you want with that. Cam's played here 4 times, made the cut last 2 times, best of the T17, missed the cut 2018, 2017. Of course, he just won the Tournament of Champions, shooting like 80,000 under. So you've got, of course, the 2 wins in Hawaii, and then typically you put him in these no-cut events. He's going to do well. There's that 5th at WGC St. Jude at TPC Southland's a good comparable. There's RSM. He had a 4th. He just does the things that I want. There's Wyndham on Bermuda. The only thing that could cause any issue is the driver. So that was the only probably hiccup. But again, we know there's going to be probably different things called upon if they're going to be playing in those kind of conditions, as in, hitting knockdowns, hitting irons, hitting hybrids, knowing that you got to keep it in play here. All right. I think Scotty, you're good on. I don't think I need to sell him. He's just in a rare form, and he's been doing really well. And has always from this 125 to 150. So he honestly, I don't think gets enough credit for how good he is with his irons. He's ranking right now over his last 6 tournaments, 4th on approach. So you can see everything's in that real nice darker green. And Jordan Spieth, does not have a good tournament history here. But honestly, Jordan funny enough, does some of the things that does interest me. He is very good, of course, around the greens, can get crazy hot with the putter. Really good from this 125 to 150. It's, the driver and the irons have not been Jordan-like for late. Let's go look at Jordan just real fast. Just in case you were thinking of playing him, which I'm not, if you want to differentiate, I bet you'll probably be lower owned. But you can see the irons over the last 3 tournaments is kind of, at least in the positive. He really showed up at Pebble Beach, where he does typically do well. The Phoenix gained almost 2 strokes, gained 1 stroke at the Genesis. But then you had this like early, well, we'll call it late fall, early winter, where he, really struggled with the irons. And the driver is always going to be hit or miss. The putter has also been hit or miss. So, like I said, for that price tag and 9,000, I mean, I think he's priced appropriately. I mean, if he would have been lower, maybe some people more take a stab at him. But you see ownership again. This is early, but it's less than 5%. So if you want to, again, be a little contrarian, you start with like DJ Spieth. You're going to have a very unique lineup, and we're going to have unique, more unique lineups for, of course, when you're talking about, I don't even know how many entries. It's 40, 50,000 entries for this Milli-Maker. It's a lot like if you play any DFS NFL, it's going to be a lot like that. All right, moving along. I'm going to stick with Will Z. Right now it's showing that people are kind of having the same sentiment. I think it just came down to just the course setup was just ridiculous for him. And we already know that he's not the best putter. But I kind of feel like, again, if these greens are soft, they're going to be able to fly him in. And if, you give him more shots at a 10-footers, and he's actually a good lag putter. It's actually the 10-foot inside that, is where he makes me nervous. And I've always said about Scotty Scheffler too. He's kind of gotten over that. But I've seen when Will Z has the confidence, and it's a bit like with Rahm, putting is so much about confidence. It's not about so much, not even technique. I mean, yeah, can you get in bad technique? You could. But if you feel like if Rahm goes out and drains a couple nice putts off the bat, watch out. I really feel like that starts it. If you get a couple bad rim outs, it kind of just sets you on a course, especially Rahm, where it's hard to come back. So, all right, Will Z played here once, had a 21st. Again, we know he's had, was in good form, and I don't really worry about the Genesis or the Arnold Palmer. He also, of course, can play in the win. Funny enough, says he almost gains 3 strokes in the win, which I did not see that coming. I knew he gained, but I didn't know it was that high. So that's a little bit of it. Even though, like I said, well, hey, why didn't he win the API? Like I said, it just did not work out from a green perspective. He also just fell apart on Friday. But you can see the irons have been just in fuego. The driver typically is an asset. Around the green's not bad. It's just this damn putter. So if I stated you have that amazing ball strike capabilities, the putter goes, away you go. All right, Daniel Berger, funny enough, ranks out number 1 in my modeling. He's got that miscut at the Phoenix. I think I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I'm trying to remember. So he had that little back issue, and so I think he withdrew, from Pebble Beach. Always blanks, and then I think his first tournament back then would have been the no, okay. So he pulled it at the Farmers, finished up at a T20. I think he wanted to go to Pebble Beach, try to make it happen. It just couldn't work. And then his first tournament back was the Phoenix Open, missed a cut, and then the Honda, of course, he had that 4th, should have won. Right, started on Sunday with a 4 or 5 stroke lead. You see here, good course history again, as much as you want to weigh that. But I think it does show he can handle this. And, but he's got the game, and here you go again, the 125 to 150. He hits that buttercut fade. He's a good driver, awesome with the irons, does well on Bermuda. Everything I want. I don't think I even really need to go into too much of the course history for you. Also can handle the wind, gains a stroke and a half when typically it's crazy conditions over the last year or so. He also had, I think I told you guys I've been saving him for this St. Jude. He's just done really well at TPC Southwind. That's his jam. Now, of course, I'll save him, I'll play him, and he'll miss the cut. But yeah, we look at his history. I don't think I have to go in and sell. Of course, RBC Heritage has done well. The Honda, there's the St. Jude again. Anytime you get Berger on like a par 72, 7,200 yard kind of Bermuda course, that's where he does well. All right, let's kind of move through some of these a little quicker. Louis, I've just been out on Louis. I haven't seen his game show me anything. I want to play Louis. It all kind of started back pretty much, I think, after the PGA. Let's go take a look. When did his so already had a crazy major run. All right, okay, I take that back. It wasn't after the PGA. It was actually after the Open. He still had a good showing. I remember he was just on this crazy hot streak. He was gaining, crazy with the putter. And then the putter kind of fell apart late summer into the fall. And you can see he has gained it again. That's interesting. I haven't even done this much analysis on him. It's actually been the irons that have not done what Louis. I mean, funny enough, this course. Let me pull this up for you real quick. I was gonna say this course is a good fit for him. I just been a little bitter on him lately. And maybe see, yeah, he had a second in 2017. He only had three missed cuts out of like, I don't know, 10 or 9 tournaments here. I don't know. What's his ownership right now? 8.6. I mean, again, and let me see what he does from a win perspective. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. Whenever you're, of course, in past Open champion, yeah. So I think again, if you're putting a weather team together, I don't know. For me, I still think of him. He could be good. He just isn't ticking everything that I'm looking for recently. But if you take Louis as a whole, he should be a great fit for here. But I'm skipping him in my overall kind of core plays. All right, Brooks Koepka. I'm not even going to details. Is this close to a major? I talked about him on the betting kind of preview show yesterday that 50 to 1. Yeah, why not? But I just haven't, a little bit like DJ. I just kind of feel like he's not hungry. But hey, it's the largest purse, I believe, out of all the tournaments that will be this year. I believe it's around 3 million, something like that, for winner, or 2.8, or I forgot what they raised it to. It's somewhere. I think we're just going to say 3 million, and I'll double check that. But we'll talk about that from a one and done perspective. But anyways, yeah, I'm out on Brooks. I'm gonna wait till a major. Finau, just not enough. I think he's had some decent kind of up and down. He had a T22 here, some miscuts. I'm not even saying Finau's not hungry. I'm just saying I don't know what his game's doing. It's just been so sporadic. When I can't really even pen down what's going wrong, it's a little difficult. Now, typically, again, from an all-weather team, he has done well in the past in kind of rough conditions, but you can see, we're used to the putter kind of causing issues, but even off the tee, he hasn't really done a whole lot. The most he's gained would have been 2 strokes back in October at the CJ Cup, lost 6 strokes with a putter. Just like, yeah. Now, again, I've always stated, put it together, who knows? Joaquin Niemann could be a really interesting play. I mean, he's got the game for these kind of conditions that we could be seeing. Of course, he just came off the win at the Genesis. I don't care about the Honda. Already came out, I think it was like 4 under after 9 holes or something like that on the first day, and then just kind of, I just think he was burned out. So if I was putting it all weather, if I was really trying to put a team together, Joaquin Niemann, let me go check this. I think of his game because of how low penetrating. So that's funny. In crazy wind, he shows over the past he hasn't done that well, but under moderate he's done. I would say maybe that's a little bit due to putting and chipping, but he does everything I like from pretty much to the degree, except this 125 to 150 not so good. You can see it's been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. Either top 6, top 1 to me. Actually, I always say when I see that, make a good bet, outright bet, or at least a top 10, top 5. So Sungjae Im again, a little bit like Finau. And if I remember, let me go take a look at this. I didn't mention this before, but it was on my brain. He took a little hiatus, right? So where was it? So I guess between the Farmers and the Genesis, he had like 2-3 tournaments off, which is a lot of golf. Maybe it's after the no, it had to have been at the Farmers. He took almost, I don't know, a couple tournaments off. And I guess he did make the cut at Genesis, but when he missed cut at the Honda, I felt like that was the break. And he came back, but he did play at the Genesis. So I think again he is just a steady all around good golfer. You can see the irons haven't been where we'd want to see him, and he's also not as elite at that 125 to 150 recently over his last 6 tournaments. Again, is he? I think he could be a decent play. He's played twice. Um, Made the cut last year, missed the cut the year before. Again, you got to remember, and maybe I mentioned this. Of course, the 2020 season, right? They played one round, and of course, we had COVID and all that. And Hideki shot 9 under that day. So again, back to Hideki, where no reason why he couldn't do very well. I even think Joaquin Neiman shot like 4 under that day. I have that stuff. I just didn't pull it up here. All right, Adam Scott. I like Adam Scott here. Of course, he's got a great course history. I like him because of the par threes. He's also been putting really well, and he also has recognized that his driver has caused him quite a bit of issues over the last couple of years, and he's been putting that 2 wood into play. You can see, also he's an Aussie. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he can handle himself. Yeah. So he's good in the wind. I think he can manage that ball flight if need be. You see off the tee is picked up since he's kind of implemented the, I don't say no driver, but, using that 2 wood. A little bit like what Phil Mickelson did for a bit there. Um, then the irons have been kind of on and off. He had a really nice showing at the Genesis, and then they fell off quite a bit at the Arnold Palmer. But the putter, man, that's one thing I mean, I've never said he's a terrible putter, but he can have his moments. So it just interests me. I like him really what he can do on the par threes. I said he's one of the better par three players out there. Him and Billy Horschel, hence, funny enough, is right below. I don't even have that in, but if I went to my larger model, let's go see this real quick because I'm touting it. Let's go see. So what is that over? Over the last 3 tournaments, from 220 for 200 to 225 out. Yeah, Corey Connors and then Adam Scott. Where's Horschel at? I don't see him anywhere recently. And then let's see this 175 to 200. There's Billy Horschel there. But Scott kind of falls off. But all I know is last year, and this just sticks out in my mind. Every time he came to number 17, he might be the only guy. He either birdied it or it was like he was sticking that thing in 10 feet on number 17 here every time. Like it was just so rare to see. He had all the confidence in the world, so I'm hoping that carries over. I told you a great course history. Yeah, that's going to be one of the guys I'm playing. Also, again, considering the conditions. And then Billy Hole's been playing good golf. I'm a Billy Hole fan. I've told you guys this. You can see ownership's up, projected ownership's up a bit. Typically, people don't like to play Billy Horschel, but I think they've been seeing what he's been doing at T11, a 6, a 16. I always say this is the deadly combination, waiting for that win. He's also had a pretty good course history. Let's go take a look at what he's done at the Players. Just curious. You can see he can handle himself pretty decently in the wind. The Players. All right. So out of what, eight different tries at the Players, he's only missed a cut twice. That's pretty good. Best showing's the 13th. Recently had a 58. I think of the par threes. I think of hitting the good drives, hitting the fairway to first cut, and then getting yourself on next. You can see the irons. You probably, I guess, I'm a little shocked. I know he gained a ton at the Honda. Yeah, so I guess if you take the sample of 6 tournaments, this is why I typically keep it to only 3 tournaments or 12 rounds, but neither here, that's fine. He had a really bad showing at the Century. Funny enough, still ended up 23rd. I mean, again, that was out of 38 guys. So, but this is what I'm most interested in, gaining 5 strokes, gaining almost 6 strokes with the irons. So if he does that, we're good to go. All right, Shane Lowry. Funny enough, he would be probably the first guy in, and I'm sure if you watch quite a bit of golf, you know what he did at the Open back in 2019. Now it's been a while. Yeah, 2019 would be. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, back. Of course, crazy weather. I was at that Royal Port Rush, whatever it was. Yeah, he's the guy's from Ireland. I'll just put it that way. Cold ain't gonna bother him. The wind, rain, bring it on. So if you are putting an all weather team together, he would be your captain going in. So that gives you a guy right off the bat. Actually, I'll talk about him from one and done perspective. And yeah, I've been playing good golf. I mean, we've only got to see him at the Honda, I guess technically, but it was playing good golf over at the DP World Tour too. I called that out. You're looking between Lowry and Fleetwood, and when I was talking about the Honda, go with Lowry. It almost happened. Probably should have happened, but neither here or there. Sam Burns, I'm always a fan. Put him on Bermuda. You know, it's a pretty decent price for Sam Burns. You know, I guess those three miscuts kind of really dropped it. Pretty elite tee to green. You see Bermuda's his best surface. Now, it's saying here in heavy winds, he doesn't do well, but, you know, make of that what you may. So this is what was interesting. He gained in every facet except around the green. He gained 6 strokes with a putter. That's ridiculous on those greens. Um, so he likes fast Bermuda, and that's what we're going to be on. If, of course, you know, depending on how the rain does. So I think he could be an interesting play. I'm going to keep an eye on that ownership. Terrell Hatton also, even though funny enough, I don't think he shows up that he plays that well in Crazy Win. I mean, it's not nothing significant. But you guys saw what he did at the API. Also, one of the only players that either shot even or under. I guess he had to shoot under on Sunday to move back up the way he did. Not the best. This is what I was interested because I always think of him as a really good iron player. His driver was a little off, even at the API, but you know you can see his tournament history has not been well here. But again, if you want a little differentiation, I plug him in. I'm going to go with Fitzy, and I think you know he's probably could be the ultimate chalk, especially with the weather coming. I mean, the guy's had you know at least decent recent history at the Players, good recent form. He's hitting all the buckets. You can see this. It makes me a little concerned. Let's go take a gander. Just want to see on approach. But you can see this. You know, funny enough, nowhere near what who was it? Zalatoris. That was way up there. Something must have been one tournament that he just went nuts and the crazy wins. Yeah, so the irons are, you know, kind of back. You know, here's my comp course. So he didn't do that hot at TPC Southwind last year. Um, you know, you can see kind of kicking off some rust at Bermuda Mayakoba, but since then, been playing well. I think he's going to be super chalk. But yeah, if I was putting that all weather team together, that's, you know, and I think that's why, again, part of the reason why a lot of people are going to him. Webb Simpson, of course, past winner here, actually has a good course, but Webb, I almost got him literally in the Patrick Reed bucket right now, where he's just not been doing the things that I need Webb to do. Let's go take a quick gander. You see in the past, you know, if it was windy, he was just steady. But yeah, I mean, if you look at least even the last three tournaments off of the irons, I mean, he gained nuts at the RSM, and then everybody jumped on him for the Sony, and that all blew up. And I said that, watch out. This is more Webb Simpson and his putter. It's just that's you need Webb to gain 3 or 4, 5 strokes on the field with the putter because he's not going to gain it off the tee. And you know, it used to be long 200 plus. You could count on him. That's been a bit off. Just so yeah, it's been kind of hit or miss. It's been a while since Webb really had his kind of run. Trying to see, I guess, yeah, been back almost 2020. So, anyways, I'm out on Webb. Abraham Answer, it mentally for me is a perfect fit for this course. A little bit like a Louis. You can see he's done well here. I didn't even think of him from a one and done. So from a one and done perspective, you want to just go on course history and what should you need to do well here. But you can see nothing's been really firing great. I mean, he's hitting fairways. The irons have not been where typically Answer is at. The putter's not been that great. So no, thank you. Funny enough, I think Max is a good all-weather team, even though I don't think it. Yeah, I mean you can see. So he hits that low ball flight like a Joaquin Neiman. He's just steady, you know, good all-around game. He's been playing good golf. It'd be kind of crazy because I always say the guys that make me the nervous are the guys that are in the teens, the 10th, the 14th, that are gonna pop for the win. Only played here once before, missed a cut. You see the 125 to 150 is not where I want it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting play. Again, you kind of if you're putting that weather team together, I would like Max Homa on there. You know, funny enough, Leishman on all fronts. I don't know if he just had a bad, just he just had a terrible Saturday, Sunday at the Arnold Palmer. I was shocked about this too. I always just put him like with a Cam Smith. You're from Australia. I think it's just his game is kind of not. I don't know. It's definitely way better. Don't get me wrong than it was. There was a period where Leishman was just in a world of hurt. Um, But yeah, the putter, he needs to be, I don't want to say elite, but he needs to gain 3 or 4 strokes to like a Cam Smith, because he's not the best driver of the ball. He's not the best iron player. Um, but yeah, I think again, if you're trying to put an all-weather team, I don't care what even that says. I think he's a good all-weather, crazy weather player. Um, could be very interesting. Hasn't had the best record here. I wanted to pull that up for you guys real quick too. Jason Dave, you want to guys had the best record ever here. Away you go. And if you're a Jason Day truther, I last I saw there was a possibility he might not play in this, but keep an eye on that. Right, I think he lost his mom. Uh, I think it was right before the last tournament, right? So right before, where would that have been? I don't know if it was the Honda, or I guess it would have been for API. I think that's why he pulled out of API. Yeah. So, anyways, condolences to Mr. Day, but I'll be out on that. Fleetwood, again, you would think from an all-weather team would be a great play. That's about what I would do. You can see he's had success here, but miscut last year. His game has just not been where we'd like to see. But man, if it goes sideways here weather-wise and they play through it, he could be an interesting play. I think even Woodland, um, for me, it's hard because I've been watching Gary so long now, but he is trending and trending. I'm almost like a Ricky Fowler right now. I've been so off Gary Woodland for so long that it's gonna maybe take a little longer, and I don't know if this is the right course for Gary. Just in my mind, I'm so terrified what can go on with that driver. It's and the putter, so it's more about off the tee at times. And I think he's just been a little hot with those irons. Let me see here. But you can see, again, can gain in heavy wind. What's he been doing? Yeah, so over the last 2 tournaments, he's been really firing the irons. Okay. And the putter has been the differentiator for him right now. He has been putting well. All right, Garcia, of course, I mentioned in the preview show, just like owns from all like par five scoring here, lowest scoring here. Um, you know, I think he even came out in the betting market was pretty low. I think 40 to 1. I think he's an interesting play, and even though this is not showing it, but you can see he's had a great course history here. Won it back in 2008. Let's go take a look just real quick so you can see. If you're not super familiar, of course, also again does typically good in the wet, windy conditions. The players. Yeah, so I mean, he had that run back here. So, okay, that's peculiar. I have no idea why it's not showing his win on here for the players. But he did win the players, and I believe it was 2008. So I have no idea why it's not showing up. But you can see a lot of better than top 10 finishes. Huh, that's odd. Okay, anyways, Paul Casey should be a great fit here. He had a T5 last year, elite tee to green. A little bit of how bad he got wrecked at the API. He's the one guy that probably, for whatever reason, literally concerns me. I mean, the putting is always, you saw he lost 4 strokes there, but man, he wasn't doing it off the tee, wasn't doing it around the green. He's usually okay around the green. The putter we know is going to go up or down, but typically you can always count on him hitting fairways, good with the long iron shots. I don't think, what is it showing up here? Funny enough, it's showing 125 to 150. He's ranked 5th. So, yeah, that could be an interesting thought process. I mean, like I said, I think like if you had some KC on your teams and watched the meltdown on what was going on, it's going to be hard to put a rostering spot on him again. I'm actually going to Henley at 7,400. I think it could be a little unique. Now, it's showing right now 9%. I don't know. I have a hard time believing, maybe at this price tag, guys will plug it in, but if they know what I know, technically Henley, I told you guys, outperformed in irons. I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was like the last 8 months over JT, over Morikawa. He's also been putting well again on Bermuda. I like what he, from a trending from a recent form. I don't care about, his tournament history here. Also, he doesn't do too bad in heavy weather wind conditions. He's not gaining a stroke and a half, but he's not losing. So yeah, I like Russ Henley. That's who I'm on. Also, I think from a differentiation, Justin Rose, he's just I don't know. I don't know how to put it. He's just so not my player that I play. He popped up last time. Like for me, that he's been relevant was the Masters in 2021, and then he's gonna have a round, right? I mean, the Farmers, I guess you could say. Um, yeah, I kind of put him in almost for me kind of the Jason Day. The guy's a past. Now, could it come out? And yeah, it could happen. I'm gonna go with Siwoo Kim, who I just know. No matter what the form is, or whatever it is, put him on a Pete Dye course. Watch out. Of course, he's won the Amex Pete Dye course. He's won the Players. Um, what he's done at RBC. Funny enough, I want to go see because I don't think his record. I don't know how much he's played there. Okay, in a win. Let's go see at RBC Heritage. Okay, pretty good record. They had a second. A couple of miscuts though, and a 33rd and a 14th. So a little bit of mixed bag there. But yeah, I like Siwoo Kim, um, Patrick Reed. Actually from a betting perspective, I think he's like 150 to one now, or something, some crazy odds. If could it all come together? It's the kind of weather, it's the kind of conditions. You can see he's had some success there. It's just a drawn out flyer. I think Cameron Tringale is actually a pretty interesting play. He kind of a mixed bag, but I mean, it should fit his game. But even when he's like running hot, he's just such a nightmare on Sundays. Hence, I think he's like the last guy. He's won the most money on tour without a win. So if you're going on the narrative of all these guys finally getting their win on the PGA Tour, last year was kind of the older guys that were out, winning tournaments. This year has been kind of the guys that we've been, either waiting for or new, like the Hoagies and Lucas Herbert. You had Swafford, Luke List. Might have already stated that. Of course, Scheffler. Yeah, just a bunch of guys. Gooch won the RSM. All right, I'm going to start moving a little quicker because I feel like this is getting drawn out a little bit. Corey Connor, 7,300. You can see ownership's up there. Why not? Honestly, I think I just kind of fell in love with some guys a little bit lower than this, and also from a pricing standpoint. So I'm going to kind of skip on it. Cameron Young was interesting to me. Great recent form, but it's never played here. That I do give a little knock to. Thank you, Kevin, for withdrawing because I might have been dumb enough to plug you in a couple lineups. All right, so you can see I'm moving down quite a bit. I think Luke List is interesting. I think people are going to get off him because there's a couple miscuts here. But does a lot of the things that you might want. So I think he's interesting. I think it's kind of interesting that Gooch is priced all the way down here, especially what he did at RSM. So, and he's had a T5 here last year. So I'll tell you right now, I'll probably plug him a little bit in for that 7,200 price tag. I didn't pick him. I'll get to why. You guys saw I picked Russell Knox as my super long shot, I think 180 to 1. He's been playing decent, but you can see he does everything I want. It's, of course, the putter. He's also had a kind of a mixed bag results. So there's like, also, I think from a weather perspective, you can see when I think of bad weather, I think a Knox could handle himself pretty well. Had a good showing at the Sony. The Travelers, funny enough, that is a Pete Dye course, RBC. So I think I talked about this where he's had success, has been on Pete Dye courses. It's a while ago, too. I understand that. So don't need flack for that one, but I know. I also wanted to put in the Players. So he's played it 7 times, made the cut 5 out of the 7, and a couple top 20s or better. So yeah, I like Knox. I don't know why. I'm on him. That's where I'm going. That's what the gut tells me. No, thank you, Doc. Kisner. Could be interesting. The weather goes sideways. Curious. I think the Mitchell experiment is probably over for a bit. Matt Jones, we know what he did at the Honda and crazy win, but after what we just saw, he just has been in not good form. But I mean, who knows, man? All weather team, just put a bunch of Australians in and see how it goes. You can see gains and heavy winds typically. Hopefully he doesn't chuck his putter in the water. All right. So now I'm going to move down. I've got three guys literally at the 7,000 range, at dead 7,000. Hence how I could have, a couple of those more expensive guys and still this will build out for me. Hoagie, I was on this early with, how well he was just striping the irons. He's had a good success here. Of course, he had the win at Pebble Beach, his breakthrough, good at the Phoenix. Missed the cut at the Genesis, but honestly, I think a Hoagie kind of fit in a Daniel Berger kind of bucket for me. Let's go click on him real quick. So the Amex, that's also a Pete Design course at the stadium course here. That's the Pete Dye design, just so I'm clear. Yeah, she's doing everything I want, and I don't think I need to sell you on a Hoagie anymore. Chris Kirk, he's the one that just struggles on Sundays. Not too far off from a Cameron Tringali. Just trying to see her before I speak out of context. I want to see. All right, so I thought he had a couple wins, but it was so long ago. And then he kind of had his little issues we'll call it off the field, and then has made his kind of resurgence. So loves the Bermuda, shorter track, just fits. Also, pretty good showing for us, of course, at the Arnold Palmer. It's going to be funny. Everybody's going to jump on this bandwagon and it's going to blow up, but we'll see. But I like him. I'm on Chris Kirk. And Mr. Alex Noren, again, another guy I think is a great bet. I think I got him 180 to 1 or 130 to 1. I can't remember now. I get him and Knox mixed on the betting side. But you see some success, also a couple of missed cuts. Also can handle himself in the windy conditions. It's the driver. Typically he hits that fade, but you can see, has had some good showing with the driver, really good with the irons. Just in a good recent form. So again, I'm all over Norn, and I think that's it from the analysis perspective. Let's go jump back over. I'll wrap this up for you guys. All right. So to give you my Fab 5 players that I'm going to be building and using in quite a few of my lineups. Number 1, Colin Morikawa, of course, elite with the irons, couple major wins, just all around one of the top. I think he's number 2 player behind. I think you've heard that, Rahm could technically follow the number 1 spot, quite a few guys behind him, but neither here nor there. I've been thinking about Colin at this course. If it doesn't work out, then maybe we'll find out he's just not good at TPC Sawgrass, but his game should fit this course to a T. Of course, we already know JT. I think they're very similar. Of course, JT hits a little further off the tee than Colin, but with their iron play, right? I mean, it's 1A, 1B. I think when it comes to Scotty, I think it's going to be interesting because he's coming off, win. It was a very difficult win. I was kind of back and forth on this, but because of the conditions that we see and what he's been doing with the irons, it was really hard not to get him in my top 5. Of course, I'm a huge Cam Smith slappy. I'm going to probably play him in a lot of places where people won't, but he just does the things that I want. I also know that he can handle himself in tough conditions. So hence Cam Smith, and then Daniel Berger to round out my top 5. Of course, it's Bermuda. It's kind of a shorter track. You got to be really good with the irons. You got to hit fairways, and that's what Daniel does. So that's my top 5 going in. And then my guys that are on deck, my next 5 coming out. You got Adam Scott, elite on par 3s. Great history here. Another Australian who can handle himself in the wind. Will Z, who, funny enough, right now leads everybody in windy conditions. Didn't show up so much at the Arnold Palmer, but hope to see it here. And we just need the putter. He's also, I would put him, in my mind, probably number 3 when it comes to what he can do with his irons. Maybe 2 or 3. Maybe he's 1C behind the other 2 guys, Morikawa and JT I just talked about. So we just need the putter just to wake up. Give us 3 rounds of good putting and watch out. Billy Ho, just, he's in Florida. He's actually, as I've said, he's a local, very close, lives in Ponte Vedra. And he's been playing great golf, and he does what I need. And he's usually a very good putter on these greens. So going to stick with Billy Ho. Russ Henley, again, kind of back to this irons, just elite with the irons. He would be maybe the 4th guy in if I had to give my all irons team. And also typically does putt well in Bermuda. And then Matthew Fitzpatrick, more of just going back with the Cam Smith play. Also, he's really, accurate, of course, around the green, great putter. And it just kind of gets me around the course. So that's my Next 5 that would be in. And then the unsung heroes. I showed you a lot of these guys are at the 7,000. Also, again, a little bit with a win bias. Russell Knox, been playing good golf. It's going to come out of the putter. Norns, just keep it in the fairway. Everything else has been really good, but typically can play well in these kind of conditions. Siwoo, Pete Dye specialist, so that's why he's in there. Not going to put any more analogy than that. Of course, he's a past winner, too. Hoagie's just been on fire with the iron, so I'm going to need that to keep going. And last but not, Chris Kirk, he just fits this track. Been in good form, no reason why not. And again, at I believe 7,200. So that will round out my top 15 core plays for the Milli-Maker. And let's talk a little one and done real fast, and then we'll wrap this up. All right, so been doing my one and done after the picks because I feel like I've got quite a bit I try to get done tomorrow. So I told you, Jason, Dave, you're just going on pure course history, elite. Adam Scott, who of course is one of my top. You got JT, who does very well here. DJ, Siwoo, as I already mentioned. Webb, but I don't trust his game now. Shamdo's not in there. So here's your top. There's Daniel Berger at the very end. Made the cut the last 5 times. Got a couple T9s. So if you're trying to figure out from a one and done perspective and you want to leverage course history, here you go. Now I'll show you the guys that I'm most interested in. Of course, right off the bat, Collin Morikawa. Now you got to remember, use your best play at this because everything that I know, this is the largest pool, right? And it's all about money won in tournaments. So like I said, again, off the top of my head, I think it's around a $3 million winning, which no other tournament, no major beats that as far as I know. Unless the Masters have changed or something. So use your best play, whatever you think it is, whoever you've been saving, this is a guy you want to use it. And so I'm leaning Morikawa. I also think JT is a good play. No one, or at least it's been, I have to go look. I don't think anyone's won back-to-back players ever. I need to verify that. John Rahm, I was kind of holding him thinking I was going to use him here, but I'm so terrified of what's going on with the putter. Not even so much about round to green, just the putter. But like I said, hey, he comes out first round, makes a few, 20 footers and gets in a groove. Watch out. Hideki, I think, is always a good play. If you not burn him, Ari burned him. He burned me. I don't even remember now where I played him. I think he either just made the cut or missed the cut. I don't remember now. I think he made the cut. I think it was Answer who missed the cut on me. Daniel Berger, if you not use him, I think is also a good play here. And then if you got to get a little unique with knowing what is going on, I think Shane Lowry would be a unique play. So if you're so far gone and you need that Hail Mary, if the weather and everything goes the way it goes, I think Shane Lowry is your guy to plug in. Of course, we just saw what he did at the Honda. He did not play at Arnold Palmer, had a nice little break. So that's who I'm looking at from a one and done. I'm leaning towards Morikawa at the last minute. I had made some, changes, but those are the guys that would be in my one and done. And also I recommend for you. All right. With that said, that's it. I would greatly appreciate it if you click that like button, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, remember this is the last day. So midnight, I'll probably do the drawing sometime late tonight. So get those entries in. Again, just tell me who you think is going to win the Players. Click that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and follow me on Twitter. Might get some information that might help you in the future. And last but not least, thank you for spending some time with me. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow when I have my Before the Lock show. All right, take care. Talk to you guys tomorrow.